Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Marc and Debora from Phobetor.
How's it going?
It's going great. How you guys doing?
Yeah, it's quite late here, to be honest. It's rock and roll hour, but yeah, we're still awake. We've got the matchsticks in the eyes.
Fuck yeah. Well, you guys are live right now on the Zach Moonshine Show with Metal Devastation fucking radio. And we just got done playing your new track, A Toxic Lie. It is fucking insane. I love it, man. Tell us, what the fuck is going on right now in the world of Phobetor?
Well, kind of as much as anyone at the moment, really. You know, it's a difficult time, but we've been able to get the album out a little bit later than planned. Obviously, the events of this year kind of held up shooting the video and some other promo, etc. But we managed to get it back on track, and yeah, the album came out last Friday. So apart from playing live, we've been able to get done pretty much all the other stuff.
Hell yeah. Now, the promo that was sent to me called this nihilistic extreme metal. And that is...
Fuck knows.
I love it. Yeah, but you know what? That's totally what I feel when I listen to it. Tell us about the recording process that you guys went through making this record.
Well, from a playing point of view, I came into the band a little bit late. I'd done some live session work with the band over the last year or so, and I came in to record the drums for the album. And I decided to stick around. I really loved the stuff, and got quite involved in the overall production of the album. And we wanted to go for a bit more of a natural sound. Through the noughties, production just kind of got a bit too plastic, a bit too polished, and we just wanted to take it back a notch. Maybe to the extreme. Kind of groove sounds that Sepultura, I suppose, Machine Head, Fear Factory, bands like that were kind of dishing out in the 90s.
Yeah.
A bit more of a band playing in a room vibe, I guess.
Fuck yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I'm glad you decided to stick around, man. The drums sound fucking amazing. As a matter of fact, people in the chat room were already noticing that right off the bat when I was playing that last song. One person said, "This drummer is getting it, man! Wow!" And
yeah, that was me. Yeah. I sent that message.
So as far as how is this the coronavirus thing? Obviously, it's affecting everybody right now. How is it affecting you guys?
Well, yeah, obviously we're still kind of in lockdown. We're based near London, so things are a little bit tricky. Stuff's starting to open again, but obviously venues and pubs and clubs still looks like it's going to be a little way off, really. We were lucky that just before it all kicked off and it all happened, we were able to support Memoriam at a show in London, which was really cool. Obviously, ex-Bolt Thrower members, really look up to those guys, so that was a real pleasure and a real honour. But yeah, at the moment, obviously we've not been able to make any plans with regards to getting the stuff out on the road and playing any of this live, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. When did you, how long have you guys been playing, and when did you get into heavy metal?
Oh, Deborah, do you want to go first?
Oh, yeah. We started as a band in 2018, and we started just with playing a few metal covers, and then we moved on to deciding to write some music for ourselves, some of our songs, and that's how it all started. In terms of getting into the genre of metal instead, I actually started quite early age, around 10 to 12. I already started to listen to a few more kind of alternative type of groups and things like that. So
I think regardless of the age the age differences or whatever, you all kind of go through the rite of passage of Maiden, Metallica, Slayer, and then you work your way up to Carcass and At the Gates and Napalm Death and things. It seems to be the same regardless of your generation.
Yes. Yeah.
It's funny. I've interviewed hundreds of bands, and to be honest with you, I think every time I ask that question, almost everybody, I can't think of anybody that hasn't, but everybody has always said, it started at a really young age. And me too, like when I was just a little kid. It's like, I think that metal's one of those things that you just get into at a young age, and it just sticks with you for life, man. I can't remember ever talking to anybody that told me, like, they were like in their 30s or something, and all of a sudden they just got into it, and they...
yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I've had some... I remember we were in Norway before, and some guy said to me that he really liked In Flames. And I said to him, I really love, like, Clayman and Colony. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I played him some of the early stuff, and, he was aware of the more recent stuff, but he didn't know where it had come from. So I've met some people like that have kind of got into metal, but they've not really understood it, I suppose, and how great some of the previous stuff is a lot of these bands have done.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? I remember when I was a kid and I was first getting into it. I had an older friend who turned me on to a lot of bands. He had a like huge, massive collection, and one thing that he told me right off the bat was that, like, whenever he got into a band, he would buy their new album. He would also go out and buy whatever was their first album, even if he'd never heard it before. He would just buy their first record, just because he told me, it was like, you can always see how a band really is if you hear their first record as well as like where they've gone to next, and I think
it's an interesting one, that as well, because I think what I said before about production, I found that on that journey that I've made with production and my taste, I've become a lot more forgiving about older productions. If something sounded a bit rough in the past, you wouldn't want to listen to it. You'd want to listen to the nice, polished, produced one. But now I'm a bit more open, and you can go back and listen to some of the earlier, like you said, the first albums where the production's a little bit rough, and appreciate the music for what it is, rather than judging it just on how it sounds.
Yeah, for sure. Can you tell us, like, what are some of you guys' influences, your main influences?
Well, my favorite band is Behemoth, and also huge fan of At the Gates, and Fear Factory and Sepultura, and bands like that, basically.
For me, fucking hell, it's a long list, but as I said, it's everything from Maiden through to At the Gates, Carcass, Napalm Death, and everything in between, really.
Hell yeah. Yeah, fucking, Iron Maiden, man, like, that was the first record that I ever listened to that really got me into metal was Number of the Beast.
Yeah. Yeah, ditto. Yeah.
That definitely started the journey right there. I remember my cousin had the record on vinyl. He put it on a record player, and he just, he put it on side 2 first so that I could hear the little intro, into Number of the Beast, and then that whole thing. And I was sitting there looking at the album cover, and I was just like, wow, what is this? And before that, all I knew was like Bon Jovi and Billy Idol and shit like that, man. I was, early 80s, but like that. That blew my mind, man. And then, after that, of course, Metallica, Slayer, and then death metal and all that shit. But yeah,
I think it was Number of the Beast for me as well. I remember being round my parents' friend's house or something, and they had a jukebox, which is quite unusual over here. And the only thing that I kind of recognised as a name was Iron Maiden, like Number of the Beast, and I put it on, and it was like, fuck, wow, this is amazing. And it kind of all started from there.
Yeah, hell yeah. And even their earlier records with Paul Di'Anno too, man. Like,
yeah, absolutely,
amazing.
absolutely. You know, a very different vibe. That, you know, more of a, I don't know, that, especially the first album. It's almost like a punk meets Thin Lizzy kind of vibe, but it sounds great. It's different, but it's great.
Yeah, hell yeah, yeah. I was fortunate enough to have Paul Di'Anno on the show a while back, man, and it was surreal being able to talk to him about that, and you know, just, but he's a really cool dude.
Nice. Yeah, I've not met him before, but yeah, I've known some people that have and said he's pretty cool, pretty down to earth these days.
Very much. Oh, I got some questions coming in from the chat room. Let me see here. Vicky Grandy wants to know, what are some of your most favorite places that you've ever played live?
Right, well, yeah, so I'm a bit older, so I've been around the block a few times, so I've done some other stuff with other bands, so yeah, I don't know whether I can mention those then. Is that cheating?
No, you can mention whatever, man.
Oh, okay. Well, my other group is Pythia, which is more of a symphonic power metal kind of thing. We've been around since about 2007, so we've been able and very lucky to play some cool shows supporting Ministry, Fields of the Nephilim, Tarja, even shared a stage with the Scorpions over in Belgium, so been very lucky, and the music industry was a bit kinder then than it is now as well. I think with regards to sort of Phobetor, certainly, you know, it's still quite early days.
Mm.
So you know, supporting Memoriam and Chrysler back in February has got to be the highlight so far, really. Up to then, it's been mostly getting established in the London scene and the UK scene.
Yes.
And it's which is quite difficult nowadays. So the music industry isn't very forgiving these days.
Yeah, I hear that, man. As a matter of fact, Titan in the chat room right now just said, we got to get you guys at the Carlisle in Hastings. That would be immense. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I've played there actually with Pythia. Yeah, we do know that. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, you know, once all this shit clears up, you know, hopefully we can get around the country a little bit and get some of these songs on the road.
Yeah, we actually have a DJ that works here that works at Hastings as well, Demonized Debs.
Ah, okay.
We could probably hook that up too if you needed it, for sure.
Cool. That sounds good.
So yeah, like, I mean, if you guys could play with anybody in the world and do any show anywhere, where would it be and who would you play with?
Well, for me, I'm a bit biased because, as I said, one of my absolute favorite bands is Behemoth, so I would definitely say I would absolutely love to support Behemoth once in life. So, yeah, definitely. So that's, yeah, kind of one of my dreams.
Yeah, I don't know. My favourite all-time band is Paradise Lost. So it would be cool. I've never supported those guys. That would be quite cool. And I wouldn't mind whatever venue. I'd be there.
Yeah, same for me.
Antarctica or whatever, yeah.
Hell yeah. That would be a cool lineup, you know what? You guys with Paradise Lost and Behemoth, that would be fucking the shit.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Got most of the bases covered there musically, yeah.
Hell yeah. Another question from the chat room. Have you guys ever played in Canada?
No, but would certainly be up for it.
Yeah, hopefully at some point in the future, this whole pandemic thing will end, you know, and the borders will be open and bands can start touring again. I hope, you know, because God.
Yeah, it's a very difficult, a difficult industry these days as it is. Let alone with the problems that this has caused. I mean, we're waiting to see really how many venues of all sizes, really, and all musical styles, I guess, are going to survive this. You mentioned, like, you know, the Carlisle and Hastings and things. Obviously, I hope venues like that are still going to be around next year, because I can't see much happening this year now. You know, we're nearly in August.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, and yeah, it's insane. It's insane that we are this far into the year and it's still, it's still fucking plaguing everywhere, and it just honestly, it just seems to be getting worse too. It doesn't really seem to be getting better, especially over here. I don't know.
Yeah, from the news that I've heard, if you can believe that, it looks like you guys have got it pretty rough at the moment. I think we've gone past the worst for the time being, but when winter comes over here and it's flu season, fuck knows. We might be back to where we were 2 months ago.
Right.
So I mean, a lot of bands are improvising, I guess, with trying to do sort of online performances and things like that. So that's something that we have started to look into. Just any way of getting to perform in front of people in a way.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. Yeah, I've seen a lot of bands have been doing that, and it certainly seems to be. I mean, it's what else can you do, honestly? But
yeah, I mean, it was even for filming the videos, the video that we've done for A Toxic Lie. That was in the early stages of sort of easing up on the lockdown. So we had to be careful with how many people were in the room at the same time and the social distancing and things. So it took quite a bit of planning to get that to work and everyone be comfortable with what we were doing and doing it in accordance with the laws as well.
Oh yeah. Let me see here. Another question for you coming in from the chat. What's one of the craziest stories that you have from traveling on the road?
Oh, bloody hell. I don't know yet. See, I'm not really. I actually, a strange story. I'll go off on a bit of a tangent. I went to nursery school with Ben from Extreme Noise Terror and formerly Garroted and the Rotted. Now, if you were talking with him, he'd have shitloads of stories for you because that guy was fucking crazy and all the band were. But I'm quite normal, so I can't really think of anything too crazy. I mean, we've all been to the where you go to play a gig and something's just fucked up, like the venue's closed down like 10 years ago, or something stupid happens, but nothing like really outrageous. Sorry to disappoint you. There's no real stories here.
Hey man, that's cool. Another question coming in from the chat. Lady Red wants to know, what do you prefer better, bubble baths or showers?
I definitely prefer showers.
Yeah, it's quick and it's efficient.
Yes, yeah.
Get in, get clean, get out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no time for the bullshit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right on.
More time for heavy metal.
Hell yeah. And Titan is asking me to ask you about sausages. What about sausages? I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. What would you...
Well, that's an interesting one. We're both vegan, actually, so yeah, it's going to have to be vegan sausages.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Titan. No. There you go. So tell us, man, like as far as the album art on this record, I really love it. It's really cool. What can you tell us about it? Is there a story behind it?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, obviously for the album art, we wanted to go for something that would look kind of very macabre, for example, and to kind of give a horror vibe to the album, because if we consider the fact that Phobetor itself is a Greek god of nightmares, we kind of wanted to give that kind of vibe of nightmarish horror type of feeling to it, and that's where the artwork comes from.
Yeah, the artist, he actually designed the logo for the band a year or two ago. So he came on our radar then, and the artwork that he does is fantastic, really. And I think for this one, it was, it's always about trying to set the tone and try and explain the music at first glance. So, you know, we're not a gore band, so it's not going to be blood and guts and stuff everywhere. But we're not going to have like a nice, you know, smiling on the beach kind of photograph either. So it had to be something that reflected it and reflected the lyrical themes as well.
Yeah.
And I think it captures that.
Yeah.
It definitely does. You know what? I like the color choices in it too. I like what you were saying about the production. It's an interesting thing. Like sometimes when you look at an album cover, sometimes it matches the production value of the record, or the sound. The sound, you know, like the sound matches the color for some. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but yeah,
absolutely does. Yeah.
In my mind, when I'm looking at the album cover, it looks like what it sounds like. Like it has that warm, earthy tone to it, which you have like in the production for it too as well. You know, it's got a very organic, real sound. You know, it's not overproduced. It's not very, you know, it's not bright. It's not too dark. It's just right there in that perfect medium. I
Cool.
guess.
Cheers. Yeah, that's what we were going for. So yeah, it's nice. Thanks for you to say that.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah.
Can you tell us about some of the songs, lyric-wise? Like, what are some of the themes that you're talking about in some of these songs?
Yeah. In terms of the whole album is all centered around the concept of mental illness. So every song tends to have a kind of a symbolism for a different type of mental illness. For example, the opening track is very kind of based on the symbolism of the black hole and the drifting into the black hole in terms of like drifting into depression and things like that, like this kind of feeling of not be able to escape. And then from there goes into like A Toxic Life, for example. It is a song about addiction, of any type of sort of addiction that you could think about, not necessarily to a substance. And you know, and so on. So every song is about a different type of mental disorder. So it's all based around that.
Yeah, I think it's quite a personal album for Debora in terms of lyrical themes and things. I think there's quite a few demons that you're able to exercise on it.
Yes.
And we've actually got a second video coming out on Monday, which is going to be for the track "Bury My Name," and again that's a very personal track, very personal lyrics for Debora. So she features solely in the video on this one. We decided just to have her on it. Also makes life easier with the social distancing as well.
Yes.
Hell yeah. You know, that's cool that you mentioned mental illness, because I mean that is a huge thing right now in the world. I mean, like, fuck. You know, if you think about like what's going on right now with everything, and honestly just the reaction to what's going on, and the way that things are being handled, and the way that people are reacting, the way that people are, it's just I mean, it definitely makes you look at the mental state of the human race in this current time. You know, like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, and I think also, you know, these days with the effect of technology, it's a double-edged sword, really, because you get the I'm sure social media and things causes a great deal of mental issues these days, but I think perhaps during lockdown and things like that, you know, video calling and things like that has been a bit of a blessing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword, because like you said, I mean, it's a way for us to connect and a way for us to communicate, but at the same time, sometimes it's too much. You know, it's like, I don't know. You know, it's just I guess you got to take it with a grain of salt, because some people maybe speak their minds too much about certain things, and it just snowballs out of proportion.
Well, yeah, especially when you're in something artistic, and you'll know as well if you play the wrong fucking songs that people don't like, you're going to hear about it. And it's the same as a band. If you change or you do something that people don't like, then yeah, they're pretty vocal about it. So you've got to be fairly confident and comfortable about what you're doing, and accept that you're going to take a little bit of flack from people occasionally.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, what do you guys think is going to happen in the future as far as the metal scene, hopefully moving forward?
It's difficult, I've been thinking, like, is it going to be a bit of a watershed moment? The fact that we've been deprived of going to gigs and concerts, are people going to suddenly wake up and think, shit, we need to start getting out again and supporting smaller bands and local venues and things like that more? Because really, I don't know how it is in the States, but over here a lot of the smaller venues have been quite neglected. People will go and they'll fill the stadium to see Metallica, but they won't go and see some great smaller bands playing at smaller venues, like 200 capacity, 300 capacity venues. Are struggling to survive because they can't pull enough people in, and I just wonder whether people will wake up and think, we've been stuck indoors for months, let's go out and let's actually change this now. But I don't know, maybe I'm dreaming.
Yeah, I was wondering like how that is going to be for bands that are in the underground versus bands that are in the mainstream that have the mega support. Like, for instance, I was talking to Chuck Billy from Testament on the show a while back, and when I asked him about that, like what he felt was, going to happen in the future, he felt really confident that metalheads in general would probably be the first to actually show up and support the bands and go to shows whenever that starts opening back up. He was like, they'll probably be the first ones to be like, fuck it, man, let's go get it in the pit. But I don't know, like it's worrisome.
Yeah, I think I'm certainly keen to get out there and watch some gigs. I know that there was a few that we were due to go to watch that were postponed or cancelled. I really wanted to go and see 1914. The band from Ukraine. They were coming over to the UK on part of their tour. They've had to postpone until next year. So yeah, we'll just have to see. But the main worry is how many venues can survive this without the economic support or money coming in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we can go to work and wear masks and social distance at work, I suppose we could go to shows and somehow manage to. I mean, I don't know. It seems strange to imagine going to a show wearing a mask and having to social distance, but it would be better than nothing, I suppose.
What seems strange is going into a bank and being asked to wear a mask. That doesn't normally happen.
Right? Yeah. That's definitely something strange for sure.
Yeah, I think the other thing with it as well is that if they're putting a limit on how many people can be in the venue at the same time, how's that going to work? Because venues need to pull in obviously as many people as possible to be able to survive. So if they can only let in 50 people in a 500 capacity venue or whatever, well, it's not gonna work, is it?
It would, yeah. That goes back to what you were saying earlier. Like, it would definitely be harder for the underground bands to pull that off. Like, Metallica, of course, would probably be able to pull enough people to come into a venue to fill it up to make it worth the while. But for
I'm sure their gold records and back catalogues enough to keep them sustained anyway. But I think for the mid and the small bands, that's really where it's going to be difficult, very difficult, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. All we can hope for is to hope that this thing will pass, and hopefully things will go back to normal. You know.
Yeah, it either will or it won't, and if it doesn't, then we'll just have to adapt in how we live our lives, basically, how we socialize, how we do music. Maybe it will be mostly over the internet and things like that instead of live performances, which is a bit shit, but what can you do?
Yeah. Well, I'm about out of questions for you guys. Is there anything else you want to let your fans know?
No, just please go to our Facebook page, Pythia UK. I took wrong band. Fucking hell, Jesus Christ! It's fucking late. What do you want? Phobetor UK. Scrap that bit. Phobetormerch.bigcartel.com if you want to order the CD direct for us and T-shirts, etc. And YouTube as well. If you go on there, we've got a Toxic live video up there, and as of Monday we'll have Bury My Name, another video up for you.
Yeah.
So you pronounce it Phobetor.
We don't know. We're not Greek.
I've been I've been saying it wrong this whole time.
Deborah's Italian. That's the close we can get to it. So.
Phobetor.
If people are saying the name, who cares? It doesn't bother us. So
fuck it.
Just nice to be mentioned.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's late over there, and I really appreciate you guys doing this and getting on here. What I'm gonna do, before I let you go, I gotta get you to make us a station tag, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Whenever you're ready, say something like, "This is Phobetor, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio."
This is Phobetor, and you're listening to
Metal Devastation Radio.
Fuck yeah. All right. All right. Well, thanks a lot for taking the time, guys. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play some more Phobetor for these motherfuckers so they can go crazy, all right?
Cool. Yeah, enjoyed the show as well. It was cool.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Cool. Cheers, mate.
Thank you. Bye.
There you have it, folks. Phobetor live on the Zach Moonshine Show with Metal Devastation motherfucking radio. Like I said earlier, put your speakers in your fucking windows, put them in your front lawns, put them in your neighbor's fucking driveway. If you have access, you know what, just fuck it. Just go into your neighbor's house and fucking put your speakers right there in their fucking living room while they're sitting there fucking watching the fucking news, the fucking propaganda, and blast this fucking metal at them and say, this is the fucking, what Dave Mustaine said in Peace Sells, man. This is the news. Crank it the fuck up loud as a fuck, motherfuckers. This is Phobetor.